I love Digimon, and I always have since I was a kid. Granted, I didn't really understand the first season all that well when I first watched it, but upon rewatching it over the years, it's definitely solidified itself as one of my favorite franchises. But Digimon the Movie is often regarded as the Digimon movie of all time. I've been wanting to talk about this movie for a long time now, but I really just wasn't sure what angle of attack to take at it. Because there are already many videos on YouTube talking about this movie, and I didn't want to do the typical thing of just bashing on it for 20 minutes, or making fun of the soundtrack, or, just making fun of the dub and some of the questionable decisions that were made, or how much was cut from it. After 3 drafts of the script, I think I've finally found a good happy medium. So I'm going to try to explain why Digimon the Movie turned out the way it did, in the hopes of answering the question of what happened when Digimon met the big screen. First, I feel like I should give a bit of background on the original Digimon. See, most people have the misconception that Digimon was created as a ripoff or competitor to Pokemon, which isn't entirely true. Digimon was actually released in 1997 as a boy-oriented counterpart to Tamagotchi, the digital pet. Digimon became way more popular than I guess they thought it would, to the point where it actually led to an anime being produced in March of 1999, which ran all the way until March of 2000. Digimon Adventure, or Digimon Digital Monsters as it became known in the West, is a pretty typical kids anime that manages to tackle some mature themes while still keeping the atmosphere of a kids show. The theme song is iconic, as this was the era where every English dub for some reason needed an original English opening. I'm guessing that was for legal reasons, or maybe they just didn't want to pay the licensing fee for the original soundtracks, but who knows. That's between Fox, Toei, and the floorboards. Because seriously, the Japanese opening for Digimon Butterfly is an amazing song, but as good as it is, it's just not as iconic to me as the Digimon theme song. It's just a classic. What else can I say? With the success of the English release of Pokemon the Movie in November of 1999, another banger of a movie by the way, Fox wanted to capitalize on Digimon's popularity and localize the first Digimon movie, since they own the rights to localize the series. Well, Warner Brothers was just able to take Pokemon the Movie and dub it in English with some mild editing. Fox was left with a bit of a problem on their hands. You see, Digimon didn't have a movie. What it did have were 3 seasonal short films produced at Toei's animation festivals over the years, with the first one being Digimon Adventure, which only has a runtime of about 20 minutes, and is a prequel to the anime that was released in early 1999 in the lead up to the premiere of the anime. But there was also a sequel film produced titled Digimon Adventure Our War Game, which takes place in the spring after the events of the first season of the show. So the decision was made to combine the 2 films to make one feature-length film. Anime movies were pretty short back then because they were often shown in animation festivals as a double feature. They'd be shown back to back with another short anime movie. But another problem soon presented itself for Fox. It turned out Fox was contractually obligated by Toei to localize the 3rd Digimon movie as well, Digimon Adventure 02. The 02 stands for 2002, which is the year the movie takes place. Digimon Adventure 02 isn't technically a movie, it's an OVA split into 2 parts that was shown as like a TV special in Japan. The 2 parts are titled Digimon Adventure 02 Hurricane Landing and Transcendent Evolution The Golden Digimentals. Now, with all that background out of the way, I'm going to give an overview of these films in order to show you what made them good individually before they got stitched together. You want to play a fun drinking game? Of course you do. Take a shot every time I say Digimon in this video. Actually, you know what? Don't do that. I don't want to have that on my conscience. Digimon Adventure is a 20-minute short film that was made in anticipation of the anime's premiere in 1999. The film follows a young Tai and Kari, and I mean like really young, like toddler young, through their first encounter with a Digimon. This film is genuinely just really well animated in a way that really makes them feel like children. Kari has this really fun quirk where she usually just communicates through blowing a whistle, which will be important later. Talk about Chekhov's whistle, huh? Anyway, their dad's computer spits out a Digi-Egg, which eventually hatches into a Digimon. It's followed by this really cute moment where Kari uses her whistle to communicate with the Digimon, which is just a really cute scene that I wanted to mention. After a bit of feeding, it evolves into Koromon, and then they use their cat's bowl to feed it, which the cat takes personally and attacks Koromon. And it's at this point that I should mention that the Digimon movie saw this as the perfect place to have Rockefeller Skank by Fatboy Slim play. Yeah, trust me, we'll get into the soundtrack later. It's a bit of a trip. Anyway, Tai steps in to protect Koromon, but ends up getting scratched by their cat, but Koromon is thankful and shows his appreciation by giving both Tai and Kari a big old sloppy kiss. By the way, this isn't the same Koromon they would meet during the events of the first season of the show. That night, the Koromon digivolves into an abnormally large Agumon and takes Kari off on a romp throughout the town, destroying property and blowing stuff up, with Tai following closely behind. Then the pair are attacked by a Parrotmon, and Agumon protects the kids from the Parrotmon, much like how Tai protected him from the cat. It's just honestly a really nice parallel that I wanted to draw attention to. It then digivolves again into Greymon, and we get an amazing kaiju battle. Seriously, the animation in this movie has aged very well considering how old it is. Anyway, Greymon gets kind of bodied by Parrotmon and knocked unconscious, and it's followed by this really nice scene where Kari tries to blow her whistle in order to wake him up, but she just is too panicked to be able to do it. So Tai realizes what she's trying to do and grabs the whistle and just honestly, that whole sequence it gave me chills when I watched it. Greymon then bodies Paramon, and that's really it. Both the Digimon disappear and the movie ends. Like I said before, it's a very fun movie that I do recommend you watch. It's only about 20 minutes long, and it is a great introduction to two of the main characters from the show and the concept of Digimon in general. Digimon Adventure Our War Game is honestly a really fun movie that takes place between the events of the first and second seasons of the show. A new mysterious Digimon has appeared on the internet and is eating data at an alarming rate. There's also a subplot between Tai and Sora because she's mad at him for giving her a hairpin as a gift. So after Izzy, the computer whiz kid that he is, figures out that the Digimon will eventually eat all of the data on the internet, and while we're here, just look at that old computer. I mean, that thing has to weigh at least 50 pounds, and it's on dial-up internet. Man, I feel old sometimes. Existential crisis aside, they reunite with their Digimon from the digital world, and just look at the cute pixel art. They upload Tentomon and Agumon to the internet in order to fight the rapidly evolving Digimon before it takes out the phone company. Because yeah, no phones means no internet. What a time to be alive. The Digimon evolves into Inframon and absolutely bodies Greymon and Kabutomon before skedaddling off to another corner of the internet. So Izzy hacks a military satellite to get them back online, and they find out that Inframon is digivolved into Diaboromon and has hacked into the Pentagon and launched a nuclear missile aimed at Tai's neighborhood. Yeah, safe to say the stakes are high with this one. Turns out the Digimon were being slowed by all the emails Izzy's been getting from kids around the world showing their support. So Izzy manages to track down Diaboromon once again, and they go after him, this time being joined by Matt and TK and their Digimon, Gabumon and Patamon. Diaboromon takes out Tentomon and Patamon, while Agumon and Gabumon digivolve into Wargreymon and Metal Garurumon. And they still get bodied because there are still too many emails coming in. This is where like the emotional height of the film is, and it's done super well. The ambience drops down and you can hear Tai's breathing as he reaches towards the screen. Through the power of friendship, he enters the internet and helps his Digimon along with Matt. And it's just so cool. And in the original version, it's accompanied by like some really somber, almost church-like music. And with the power of friendship and all the kids around the world, Metal Wargreymon and Metal Garurumon combined to the first ever Digimon fusion, Omnimon. And Omnimon just obliterates all the clones of Diaboromon until there's just one left, but he's still too fast for them to catch, until Izzy has the bright idea of forwarding all of the emails he's getting to Diaboromon to cause it to lag, which actually works, and Omnimon manages to land a brutal final blow, which in the Digimon movie, he says the one-liner, "Connection terminated," which genuinely got a chuckle out of me, but I feel like just saying nothing just was better to let the scene kind of speak for itself, you know? The nuke lands in the bay with 2 seconds left on the clock, and it doesn't explode. Sora finally gets her email from Tai, where he accidentally says he loves her, and the day is saved. Honestly, another banger of a movie with amazing visuals that I recommend you watch. It has amazing visualizations of what the internet would look like if you could go inside of it, really touching and heartfelt moments, a really amazing climax with Omnimon versus Diaboromon. It's great. Digimon Adventure 02 is honestly a pretty sad story. Like, it truly has the darkest plot out of the 3 films. The plot revolves around the cast of the 2nd season of the show as they attempt to help Willis, who only exists for this special, by the way. He doesn't appear in any other form of media in the franchise, just this one movie. They're trying to help him save one of his Digimon, Kokomon, that's been corrupted by a computer virus. There's also a subplot where the older kids get kidnapped by Kokomon, with the exception of a now older TK and Kari, who are now a part of the new team. It's genuinely a sad story that has some really good fight scenes and emotional weight. While our wargame had vibrant visuals and action-packed climaxes, Adventure 02's climax, while really well animated with cool visuals, is just tonally depressing, since they end up having to destroy Kokomon in order to save the older kids and protect the world. It doesn't end on a completely depressing note, since Willis finds Kokomon's Digi-Egg before the credits roll. But man, this really has some heavy moments in it. So how do they mess it up in adaptation? Well, before I can answer that question, I have to talk about a show I never thought I'd be bringing up. Both the theatrical and DVD releases of Digimon the Movie start off with a short made with the characters from the show Angela Anaconda. And I'm only talking about this because it's counted in the official runtime of the film. It's not a part of the previews, and it's not a DVD extra like you think it would be. Angela Anaconda was a show created on the Canadian network Teletoon, but it eventually aired alongside Digimon on the Fox Kids block in the US. This show is, well, the best way I can describe it is bowling shoe ugly. It's not even like this is just a clip from the show either. This is an original short commissioned by Fox for Digimon the Movie. And it's crazy. Like, imagine you're a kid going to see Digimon the Movie for the first time, and the first thing you see is this face. I would have ran out of the theater screaming and crying as a kid. The short was eventually repurposed into an actual episode of the show with all mentions of Digimon removed, even though Angela is still wearing Tai's hair and goggles. I guess Fox was trying to push Angela Anaconda as a core part of its children's block, and I don't know, maybe the show was really popular in its heyday, but I do know it does have a bit of a cult following nowadays. Okay, now with all of that out of the way, we can finally talk about Willis the movie. I mean Digimon the movie.
Digimon! Digimon. The Digi-Dudes will Digi-Rule with Digi-Ability and Digi-Tool. Save the world from a Digi-Disaster. The threat from the net makes the Digital Masters.
So ironically, Fox actually planned to release all 3 movies with English dubs as individual theatrical releases. In early 1999, once production of the English dub of Digimon Adventure had wrapped, writers Jeff Nimoy and Bob Buchholz, I hope I pronounced that right, were offered to write Digimon the Movie while negotiating their contracts to return to write the 2nd season of the show. Initially, the writers didn't want to shoehorn in the plot of Digimon Adventure 02 and instead pitched to have it release on either its own or as a DVD extra, or even a television special. As you can tell, all of those ideas were shot down by Toei, who kept pushing the edict that they must adapt 02 with the other two films. Fun fact, it was this decision that actually led Jeff and Bob to leave the writing team after the second season of the show. Originally, they planned to have Tai narrate the movie in order to connect the plots, but this was changed to Kari since she was the only character who appeared in all three films. Initially, you don't really notice the changes all that much. Some soundtrack changes, like the battle between Greymon and Parrotmon, now have an orchestral version of the Digimon theme, which is kind of a cool change to me. Certain scenes were edited to remove depictions of violence, like Parrotmon's wing getting ripped off and its beak getting impaled by Greymon's horn. Honestly, the first 15 minutes of Digimon the Movie are relatively unchanged, except for the mention of Willis in the beginning.
And that's Willis, in America. While the rest of us in Japan only had one Digimon, he had twins. And while we had our team to count on, Willis didn't have any human friends, only his two Digimon. His digital adventure, as well as ours, began that night 8 years ago.
One thing that I like that they did is they introduced this like subplot slash reoccurring joke of Tai's mom being a terrible cook, and it actually plays an important part in the movie later on during the fight with Diaboromon. See, in the original, Izzy has to go to the bathroom because she's serving oolong tea and he's a caffeine addict and it makes him have to use the bathroom. While in this version, he has to go to the bathroom because the food is so bad that it made him have to go. There's a lot of jokes that they managed to slide in to help match the humor of the show. Just little lines like this.
Did you see that?
No, I was sleeping.
But you're driving!
Goofy jokes like this.
Izzy, you're all sweaty. What's wrong?
Well, it's about the egg.
Huh?
The egg is already hatched.
Oh.
Oh, not that egg.
Oh.
A digi-egg.
Or just weird characters like this guy.
You say, guys, want to hear some music? Sure, why not?
We prefer something on the slow and easy side if you have it.
I'm pretty good, huh?
The movie is full of little background jokes like that. Izzy also gets tipped off about Diaboromon by Willis in this version as opposed to a friend from LA in the original.
Here's one from that kid Willis in America. It says, Izzy, I'm sorry, this is all my fault. Find a way to slow him down.
The biggest complaint I have about Digimon the Movie is that it feels like it goes on for too long. Like, the best comparison that I have is comparing it to The Last of Us Part 2, when Ellie and her friends fail to kill Abby, almost get killed themselves, and then just pack up and go home, and you think, okay, the story's winding down, this is gonna be a pretty good place to end things, and then boom, it hits you with like another 3 hours worth of story and gameplay. Digimon the Movie does something similar, because the fight with Diaboromon and Omnimon feels like the perfect climactic battle for the movie with a happy ending, right? Bam, the movie skips forward like 4 years and introduces a whole cast of 8 new characters that have nothing to do with any of the previous events of the movie. 50 minutes into the movie, with like a half hour left. This is really where the pacing starts to hurt the movie, because Adventure 02 had the most things cut out of it. In fact, over 40 minutes of content was cut from this movie, and it really shows. As a result, the last half hour feels like a rushed mess with characters showing up out of nowhere. The subplot of the older kids getting kidnapped is cut completely, fight scenes being cut short, emotional moments being cut short, which results in probably the one clip most people will point to when they try to say the movie is bad.
What's the matter with you?
That's the saddest story I ever heard.
I'm the one with the problem, not you. Get over it.
Okay.
Granted, the original scene isn't that different, but what made it work was the dialogue. You see, in the original scene, Davis empathizes with Willis's situation and states that if the roles are reversed and he would have to destroy Vmon, that he wouldn't be able to bring himself to do it, and that's why he starts crying. While here, he just cries for no reason after hearing Willis's backstory. Then they just beat Kokomon and go their separate ways, and then the movie ends. Also, while Willis is reminiscing about Kokomon, it's set to All-Star by Smash Mouth, and the credits are set to a cover of The Kids in America by Len. This was before Shrek or the Jimmy Neutron movie, so Digimon the Movie was really ahead of the curve with this one, which leads me to my next point. The soundtrack. The thing that really solidifies Digimon the Movie as a time capsule of the 2000s has to be the soundtrack, composed of both original songs and licensed songs from the time. It genuinely threw me for a loop when some of these songs played. I already mentioned Rockefeller Skank by Fatboy Slim. But there's also 1 Week by Bare Naked Ladies. All My Best Friends Are Metalheads by Less Than Jake. The Impression That I Get by the Mighty Mighty Boss Tones. Like, they may just be short clips of the songs that are used, but they're wild looking back, man. Like, that's like if you went to Pokemon the Movie and they played a Blink-182 song over a scene. It would just be weird. The funniest part is the fact that these songs are used at like the weirdest times. Like, they don't play during fight scenes or heartfelt moments. They just kind of come out of nowhere, which somehow makes them better. The marketing was on point though, with commercials, trailers, and even a sweepstakes for a private viewing party of the movie.
Digimon the Movie! And we're so excited, we're throwing the Digimon the Movie House Party Sweepstakes! Win and you'll get a Digimon the Movie video screening party, hosted by a surprise Digidestined character for you and 20 of your best friends!
Let me tell you something. I would have committed several war crimes to have a private viewing party of Digimon the Movie hosted by a Digidestined guest and 20 of my friends. You can't say that Digimon the Movie wasn't a commercial success, since it grossed $16 million on a $5 million budget. It wasn't received well by critics, but the fans loved it, and that's really all that matters. Hell, it did so well, the director, Mamoru Hosoda, was offered the opportunity to direct Howl's Moving Castle. He later left the project due to creative differences, but still, that's like a crazy jump. Like, Digimon the Movie, Howl's Moving Castle. Like, you're going from a stitched together dub to a Ghibli movie. That's moving up in the world. Digimon the Movie is a beautiful mess of a movie that honestly isn't as bad as most people make it out to be. Sure, it's cheesy and a lot of the jokes are dated and the soundtrack is a little weird and it does cut out quite a bit of stuff from the originals, but ultimately it serves as a pretty entertaining movie. There will never, and I mean never, be another movie like this. It is a time capsule of the time. This movie has never been re-released in the 23 years since its initial theatrical and DVD release. Most likely because of licensing issues. Like hell, who knows how long they had their licenses for the soundtrack for. Plus, Disney now owns Fox, which means they own Digimon, so they don't really like to play well with others, so I don't know if they'd even be able to work out a deal with Toei to have the movie on like Disney Plus or something. That would be nice, but I don't really see it happening. So, Digimon the Movie remains an almost perfect time capsule of the 2000s. A one-of-a-kind movie for a one-of-a-kind franchise. Thanks for watching me talk about one of my favorite movies. I do hope to do more videos in this style in the future. It all depends how forgiving the YouTube copyright system is when I try to upload this. Here's to hoping I don't have to upload it 10 times. This is one of my favorite childhood movies. And I do hope to talk about more movies and shows in the future. I'll still talk about video games because they are my first love. But anyway, I'm the Wildcard. Consider subscribing if you like this. Tell me what you loved about Digimon the Movie in the comments below. Or just tell me how bad it is, honestly. I think that'd be funny too. And I'll see you next time. Peace.
Well, it's been 1 week